Yeah, I always say he was ill-advised because even those who were involved in the Guimaras cleanup said it took them 4 years. And if you compare Guimaras and Oriental Mindoro and other provinces already affected, such as Palawan, um, the area is wide, bigger, no? And there are so many marine protected areas. And I understand ang depth then sa Guimaras was not as deep, relatively, if we compare it to the sunken vessel. So duration would really depend on the quantity and type of oil spill, the location, and this is important, the effectiveness of responses and clean up. Unfortunately, we can see na no one seems to be in charge, and that was the prevailing sentiment among the senators in last Tuesday's investigation of the oil pollution crisis that we are now facing. It is very clear that the government was not prepared. Otherwise, they could have asked, knowing we didn't have the technology, they could have sought the assistance of countries who had those technologies. It took them what? How many days? Almost 2 weeks before they move. So ang call of our civil society groups, we are really working closely together, including lawyers, scientists, academe, it's really to call for accountability and transparency. So many facts are not being divulged. It took a Senate investigation for the facts to come out, and very appalling laxity or regulatory agencies were really not that compliant with their mandates. That could have been avoidable. So masakit ito. Our team from Oceana went to the area, and a great state of uncertainty prevailed over the residents. Remember, we just had COVID, and they say this is worse than COVID. They don't know what will happen. And suddenly, they don't have cash, nothing for them to use, for their daily needs, for their children who still go to school. And some even obtained loan, no? Mga fishing gears, because they thought business will be coming back. And then all of this. And there's a big uncertainty on who is liable. But we salute the governor, Governor Dolor, and the mayors, Mayor Cruz, and other mayors, Malaluan, in the affected municipalities, because they are there. They're really the ones stepping up. But what they're asking is really for a strong collaboration among national agencies. And as Senator Ligarda said, andyan ang batas, the National Disaster Risk Reduction Management Act. Why are you not using it? So kami, we're calling for a declaration of state of emergency because right away all the resources of the state would be there, would be used for this.
Ma'am, of course, we understand what you're saying na parang you're concerned na parang walang somebody who's on top of things. But going back to the Guimaras problem 2006, that was 17 years ago. From what you're seeing, have we learned the lessons we should have learned 17 years ago? For example, among other things, not just in terms of response sa disaster and oil spills, but as well enforcing rules and regulations on at least as far as maritime laws are concerned. We are an archipelagic country. We have so many ships running around between islands, and of course we have oil and other sensitive material being transported all around. Have we learned the Guimaras lessons or not?
No, definitely. That's why we're really pushing for implementation, enforcement. Oceana helps government in implementing itong fight against illegal commercial fishing. Nakikita natin ang bagal-bagal talaga ng movements, no? So what we're doing is using scorecards, we monitor. I think that's very effective. I think it's about time we do that. Let's stop blaming government, but ask ourselves, what can we do? What can we do to ensure that our lives, the health of our people, the health of our environment would not be compromised anymore? So, fully engaged kami ngayon. It's great that lawyers are also on board. We are preparing a statement in regard to these issues. And on Monday, we're going to have another briefing. Scientists will be there, and we hope the governor and mayors of Calapan or Mindoro would
Yes.
be there, and Fisher Fox as well. It's important that we as Filipinos, hindi lang yung nasa Mindoro, should be in solidarity and do what we can to help the coastal residents in the affected provinces in
Yes.
Mindoro and also in Palawan.
Attorney, should the oil containment be finished in a matter of few months, what happens next? No? Kamusta naman po, makakabalik po ba kaagad yung ating mga fishermen sa pangingisda at yung mga iba pang tourism activities, ay mababalik ba kaagad yun? O it would take such time pa rin?
Yeah, it depends on the extent of the damage, no? Because marine protected areas are also affected, deeply affected. Andito yung coral, seagrass, and mangrove. So these are interconnected habitats that without them, we won't have fish. And also toxic ang oil.
Correct.
So it kills fish and marine resources. Kaya, on a long term, talagang dapat we shift na towards clean energy. 2008 pa yung Renewable Energy Act of 2008. Why are we not even having this, transition towards clean energy? Tama na yung natin, eksperimento na pretending as if we're not an archipelago, pretending as if we're not the center of marine biodiversity in the world, and pretending as if our Philippine citizens are not dependent on a healthy and functioning oceans. Next to Indonesia tayo in terms of dependency on our seas and ocean. Kaya kailangan tugma naman ang plano natin or programs na we make sure na maayos, functioning, robust yung ating ocean. So we have to learn the sad lessons. Tama na yung mga pangyayaring ganito. We have, and that's why it's so important to hold accountable those who were lax in performance of their functions.
Okay,
All right.
thank you, ma'am.